How does blackjack card counting use the shoe count? Imagine sitting at a blackjack table, watching the cards fly out of the shoe, and wondering how some players seem to know when the odds are in their favor. Well, that's where the idea of shoe and deck count comes into play. When you play blackjack, the shoe is the device holding multiple decks of cards, usually for 6 or 8 decks. The goal of card counting is to keep track of which cards have already been played and which are still in the shoe. This helps players estimate whether the remaining cards favor the player or the house. The most common method used is called the high-low system. In this system, each card is assigned a value. Cards 2 through 6 are worth +1, cards 7 through 9 are worth 0, and 10 through ace are worth -1. As the dealer deals each card, players keep a running total of these values. This running total is called the running count. It's a simple way to keep track of whether high cards or low cards are more likely to come next. But the running count alone doesn't tell the full story, especially when multiple decks are involved. Think of it like trying to understand a puzzle with many pieces. If only one deck has been dealt, a running count of +10 might seem significant. But if 6 decks are in play and only a small portion has been dealt, that same +10 isn't as meaningful. That's why players convert the running count into what's called the true count. To do this, they estimate how many decks remains in the shoe and divide the running count by that number. The true count gives a clearer picture of the remaining cards. When the true count is high, it indicates that many high-value cards like 10s and aces are still in the shoe. This is good for the player because these cards increase the chances of hitting a blackjack or winning the hand. When the true count is low or negative, it suggests that more low cards are left, which favors the dealer. In these situations, players tend to bet less or sometimes not at all. Estimating how many decks are left is an important skill. Players often watch the discard tray or keep track of how many cards have been dealt to make their estimate. The more accurate their estimate, the more precise their true count will be. This helps them decide when to increase their bets or change their playing strategy. Some advanced players will adjust their basic strategy based on the true count. For example, they might stand on a hand they would normally hit if the true count is high, or they might double down on a hand where they would usually just hit. These small changes can make a big difference in their chances of winning. In short, the shoe and deck count are essential tools in card counting. They help turn simple observations into actionable decisions. By tracking the shoe count and calculating the true count, players can better judge when the odds are in their favor and act accordingly. This is how card counters use the shoe count to gain an edge over the house in blackjack.